Who told you authority fades slowly? It doesn't. It collapses in a single exchange, a wrong tone, a hedged phrase, a weak apology, and everyone rearranges around the hole you leave. Machiavelli taught rulers to repair power by spectacle and sentence. One decisive line, one posture, one script can close the gap and force the world back into order. Promise. Learn the exact conversation, the words, the cadence, the pauses, and 5 tactical preparations so that one meeting restores your authority instantly. The room waits. All eyes subtly shifting, scanning for weakness, hunger, opportunity. You feel it, society's quiet predator, the invisible hand of expectation waiting to test you. One wrong word, one hesitant breath, and the fragile illusion of control collapses. Machiavelli whispered centuries ago, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command with silence before speaking with action." Today, you will learn the conversation that doesn't just speak, but strikes and reclaims authority from those who have begun to doubt it. Authority is a delicate weapon. It is not earned by politeness, charm, or the cheap currency of superficial likability. Authority is demanded, and sometimes it must be reclaimed. The inner servant, that part of you cowering at disapproval, whispers, "Be gentle, be cautious, ignore it." This is the hour of subtle dominance, not timid negotiation. Authority is often lost silently. A hesitation here, a concession there, a smile too eager to appease. The moment passes and people begin to test limits. They speak over you, ignore your suggestions, undermine decisions, quietly, persistently. This is not open rebellion. It is the slow erosion of respect. Sun Tzu would call it the erosion of morale in your own ranks. Machiavelli would call it the slow death of perception. Both converge on the same truth. Perception is everything. If you are seen as weak, every word you speak must fight uphill. If you are seen as resolute, one conversation can reforge the chains of obedience. Look at history. Kings deposed by whispers in the corridor, generals undermined by subordinates who mastered the art of silence. Your authority is a fortress, and every concession you make without deliberate strategy is a crack in the wall. The first step is awareness. You must feel the shift in air, the subtle currents of doubt. Those currents will guide your strike. Observe your last interaction where respect wavered. Identify one micro-behavior you allowed that undermined your position. Name it, own it. This conversation is not casual. It is surgical. It is not about debate or persuasion. It is about restoration. Timing is everything. Enter too early and your words are dismissed. Wait too long and the damage becomes structural. The ideal moment is precise, when they expect you to yield, to apologize, or to explain. That expectation is your lever. Start with silence. Silence conveys confidence, patience, and control. Do not rush to fill the space. Let discomfort build. Jung noted that people instinctively reveal more when confronted by calm authority. This is the paradox. Your quiet is louder than their noise. Your silence is the first blow, then speak. Not in anger, not in apology, but in deliberate, concise truth. The words must carry weight. Each phrase must be intentional, sharp, and strategically revealing. Avoid justification. Avoid defensiveness. Speak as if the air itself bends around your will. Machiavelli instructed princes to maintain appearances with precision. Your words are no different. They are the chisels that reshape perception. Practice a single sentence that asserts your position without apology. Speak it aloud now. Feel its weight. The antagonist is subtle. It lives in the minds of those who test you. It is the collective shadow of society, eager to see you falter. Every question meant to unsettle, every smile masking challenge, is a test. To reclaim authority, you must manipulate perception, not emotions. People do not obey truth. They obey power they recognize. This is why charm is irrelevant, charisma optional. The silent command, the deliberate word, the precise assertion, these awaken the recognition of power. Nietzsche observed that humans naturally revere those who demonstrate decisive mastery over the chaos around them. Authority is not a discussion. It is a projection. Every inflection, pause, gaze, and measured syllable works together to signal one truth. You are in control. You are the boundary, the law, the unmovable object against which all else shifts. In your next meeting, experiment with a 2-second pause before responding to challenge. Notice the subtle shift in attention. Do not speak more than necessary. Each additional word dilutes authority. Silence is the shadow that frames your speech. Structure your conversation like a scalpel. Incision, precision, effect. Lead with acknowledgement, not apology. Weak. I'm sorry if I was unclear. Maybe we can... Strong. Let me clarify the expectation. This is the approach we follow. Notice the difference. One conveys weakness, the other reestablishes hierarchy. Tone matters. Even the calmest voice can command. The frantic, even forceful, cannot. Anticipate resistance. Prepare a single unassailable statement to counter it. Do not debate. Do not negotiate. Deliver it with unwavering calm. History is filled with rulers whose single declaration shifted tides of loyalty. Napoleon, with a glance, could halt mutiny. You do not need armies. You need presence. Draft one sentence that you can use in a real scenario to reclaim respect. Keep it short, unemotional, unassailable. Authority restored in a conversation is fragile. Reinforce it immediately through actions that match words. Follow through decisively. The inner servant will urge compromise, flexibility, avoidance. Reject it. This is the moment where reputation solidifies. If your statement is not backed by action, it dissolves into emptiness. People forget words, but they never forget patterns of decisiveness. Machiavelli's lesson echoes, consistency of action is the hammer that drives respect into perception. Visualize the effect. Imagine a room where every gaze tilts toward you, every movement halts, every doubt pauses. That image is not fantasy. It is the cognitive imprint you are about to leave. A single conversation, precise, deliberate, and strategically silent, can re-anchor the perception of authority. You are no longer contestable. You are untouchable. After your conversation, schedule a follow-up action that visibly reinforces your position. Let your authority echo in deeds. Authority is a living thing. It sleeps, it wakes, it tests. The conversation is your instrument, the silent strike your signature. The antagonist, the shadow of doubt, will always return. But now you know the method to silence it. The room obeys when it feels the certainty of your command. You have spoken, you have acted, and perception bends. The fortress is repaired. The inner servant watches, subdued. History observes, quietly approving. A single silent statement reverberates through the corridors of influence, bending attention, aligning loyalty, and extinguishing doubt. One conversation, your conversation, has changed the balance. The air feels heavier today. You sense it before entering the room, the quiet judgments, the invisible hierarchies already forming. People wait, testing, whispering, sizing your energy against their own. Sun Tzu called it the battlefield of perception. Nietzsche called it the arena of power. Here, every interaction is a duel. One misstep, and authority wanes. One precise act, and it surges. This is the dance you must master, to bend respect to your will before it slips away again. Every leader faces it, subtle erosion. You may have restored authority once, but the shadow always returns. Colleagues, subordinates, even friends, like moths drawn to weakness, probing, circling, testing. The first rule is recognition. Observe without emotion the currents that pull against you. The inner servant will scream, "It's trivial, let it go." Do not listen. Triviality masks danger. The erosion is gradual, almost invisible, but once it accumulates, the fortress crumbles. Strategy begins with visibility. A ruler is not silent in their absence. Your presence must echo before you arrive. Consider Machiavelli's advice. The appearance of strength is often more valuable than strength itself. Project certainty, even if the chamber is filled with uncertainty. Every gesture, posture, glance, and tone must suggest control. The room should feel your command before you speak. Stand as if the air itself bends around your will. A slight pause before your entrance, a measured pace, a deliberate smile, all communicate dominance without a word. Next, manipulate attention. People obey the gaze of the confident, hold theirs for a fraction longer than comfortable. Let micropauses stretch just enough to create tension. The inner antagonist, the silent doubt, watches. You are not yielding. Let them wonder what you think, what you will do next. Suspense is power. In the subtle games of influence, timing surpasses volume. Every second of controlled silence amplifies impact. Words, when they arrive, must be precise. Conciseness is the blade, verbosity is the dull hammer. Speak only what reshapes perception. Sun Tzu warned that over-explanation dilutes authority. Lead with clarity, punctuate with certainty, and avoid the trap of justifying past actions. Authority is not a debate. It is a projection of unassailable control. Prepare a single sentence that counters anticipated objections. Repeat it mentally, feel its weight, and deliver it like a scalpel cutting through resistance. Let it land, let it echo, and do not repeat. Micro-actions cement authority. Begin today. Redirect a conversation subtly when it threatens your position. One deliberate intervention, one reframed statement, one decisive observation. Let it ripple. The room adjusts. Respect, once fractured, begins to mend under the force of your decisiveness. Machiavelli emphasized consistency. Words without action are dust. Actions without purpose are noise. Marry them. Let each movement reinforce your narrative. Let your presence assert order. Anticipate the covert challenges. The shadow of opposition is rarely overt. Small interruptions, masked criticisms, polite disagreements, they are the arsenal of the subtle antagonist. You must act preemptively. Neutralize these with calm, authority-laden responses. Speak once, act decisively, then withdraw. Over-engagement signals insecurity. Your silence afterward is the final strike. Jung noted, "The unconscious reads hesitation like a flag of submission." Do not hesitate, be resolute. Visual imagery anchors authority. Picture a hall where every footstep echoes your command, where every glance is drawn to your figure, and where doubt flees before your calm certainty. This is not fantasy. It is the map your mind draws to guide action. Carry it into reality. In every meeting, practice this. As soon as doubt appears in the room, make a single decisive gesture. A hand raised, a nod, a firm statement. Observe the shift. Authority is contagious, hesitation spreads like wildfire. Finally, anchor perception with repetition. Authority is fragile when intermittent. Each micro-victory, every controlled conversation, every precise intervention, every strategic silence cements respect. Sun Tzu, victorious warriors win first and then go to war. Your battles are fought in advance. Prepare the environment, predict reactions, execute with precision. The inner servant will urge concession over apology, flexibility, resist. Every concession without purpose is a brick removed from your fortress. Authority is alive. It breathes, it tests, it fluctuates. Your task, remain the immovable center. Let the shadows of doubt gather and then let them dissipate under the weight of your controlled presence. One deliberate intervention today is not merely a correction, it is the shaping of perception, the reinforcement of hierarchy, the silent but unmistakable signal that you remain untouchable. As Machiavelli wrote, influence is not granted, it is imposed. And today, you impose it. The room whispers, even when it is empty. You step in, and yet the walls seem to speak, the echoes of prior judgments curling around your presence. Power is not merely claimed, it is inhaled, exhaled, sensed before it is seen. Machiavelli knew this. Sun Tzu warned of the battlefield that begins long before the fight. Authority is a scent in the air. Those who can detect it first dominate. Today, you will master its invisible currents. Your adversaries are subtle. They wear civility like armor, politeness like a shield. But beneath their calm lies intent, tiny fissures, probing questions disguised as idle chatter. Nietzsche observed that the will to power manifests first in quiet tests. Do not flinch. Observe without flinching. Every pause they leave is an opening. Every smile they offer is a challenge. Recognize it and transform it into leverage. Control begins with timing. Speak too soon, and your words scatter like dry leaves. Speak too late, and you seem indecisive. The inner servant whispers, "Just go along, avoid conflict." Silence it. The room will dictate your rhythm only if you permit. Wait for the moment when all eyes unconsciously turn to you. Let that instant stretch, a breath, a heartbeat, an eternity. Then release your words. Like a predator striking at the exact moment prey is most vulnerable. The power of ritual cannot be underestimated. Your gestures, your posture, the way you occupy space, these are not trivial. They are the armor of perception. Machiavelli stressed the importance of ceremony and authority. Every hand extended, every step measured, every glance deliberate. They are declarations that you are in control. Do not rush. The slow, deliberate command communicates dominance more effectively than any shouted decree. Micro-actions reinforce the invisible architecture of power. Today, execute one with precision. Redirect a conversation that undermines you. Insert a phrase that recalibrates perception. Observe the ripple it causes. People will not immediately recognize what has shifted, but they will feel it. Authority is not what is declared. It is what is sensed. Let your intervention be subtle, yet undeniable. Anticipate resistance. The shadow antagonist is patient, cunning, and persistent. Small comments, feigned ignorance, polite disagreements, all are weapons. Your countermeasure, controlled composure. Address the threat once. Do not over-explain. Retreat. Let your silence after action speak louder than any words. Jung noted that hesitation signals weakness to the unconscious mind. Your resolve must be unbroken. Visualization anchors this command. Imagine the space you occupy as a fortress. Every movement, every glance, every gesture carves its walls. Imagine opponents as shadows that shrink in the presence of your certainty. The mind obeys images before it obeys words. Train it. Enter each encounter with this mental map. Let it guide your posture, your tone, your timing. The environment itself becomes an extension of your authority. Finally, anchor perception through repetition. Authority is like fire, sporadic. It flickers and dies. Consistent, it consumes and dominates. Every deliberate action, every micro-intervention, every calculated pause builds the inferno of your presence. Sun Tzu. Victorious warriors win first and then go to war. Do not fight blindly. Prepare the field. Shape the moment. Execute with precision. The inner servant will urge compromise, flexibility, apology. Ignore it. Each concession without intent is a brick removed from your fortress. Today, authority is not a title, not a position, not a privilege. It is a force you radiate. Each step, each word, each pause, each deliberate gesture shapes the room to your will. One precise, calculated act can recalibrate perception, realign hierarchies, and remind all present that you are the immovable center. Influence is not granted. It is imposed quietly, relentlessly, invisibly. And today, you impose it. The tension is always present, lingering in the corners of your awareness. It is not loud. It does not announce itself. It exists in the micro-pauses of conversation, in the slight hesitation before someone meets your gaze. Power, true power, is sensed long before it is named. Machiavelli insisted that perception is as crucial as reality. The moment you step into a room, the air should shift subtly, almost imperceptibly. Your adversaries are never fully seen. They are shadows, cloaked in civility, armed with small tests. Nietzsche spoke of the subtlety of power struggles. They often begin before either party is aware. Your first act, recognize the testing, the probing, the hidden challenges. Observe them without reaction. The inner servant whispers, "Ignore it, it's nothing." Do not. Small fissures expand unnoticed until the structure cracks irreparably. Timing is a weapon. Speak too early and your words scatter. Speak too late and hesitation is exposed. Wait. Let the room dictate the rhythm only in part. Control the critical moment when all eyes converge on you. Pause. Stretch the silence until it feels slightly unbearable. Then release your words, deliberate, measured, unavoidable. like the predator who strikes precisely when prey is unaware of its fate. Rituals anchor authority. Machiavelli described ceremony as a scaffold of power. Your gestures, posture, and movements are statements of intent. Every step, glance, and pause should communicate control. Do not hurry. The slow, deliberate act asserts dominance far more efficiently than any raised voice. Microactions accumulate into imperceptible dominance. Redirect a conversation, insert a single recalibrating phrase, or observe a subtle reaction. Authority is not always recognized consciously. It is felt. Subtlety is the amplifier. Each carefully executed act reshapes perception and establishes your presence. Resistance is inevitable. Small interruptions, polite contradictions, and feigned ignorance are weapons of the subtle antagonist. Respond once with measured calm. Avoid over-explanation. Withdraw. Silence after action speaks louder than words. Jung noted that hesitation signals weakness. Resolve must be absolute. Visualization is essential. Imagine the space you inhabit as a fortress of control. Opponents shrink in the presence of your certainty. The mind obeys imagery before language. Carry this mental map into reality. Let it guide posture, tone, timing. Your environment becomes a tool, an extension of your authority. Repetition solidifies perception. Authority is fragile if sporadic. Consistent actions create dominance. Each deliberate intervention, calculated pause, and micro-decision builds an invisible web of influence. Sun Tzu. Victorious warriors win first and then go to war. Preparation precedes action. Ignore the inner servant urging compromise. Every concession without strategy erodes your fortress. Today, influence is not a title or position. It is the force you project. Every gesture, word, and pause shapes the room to your will. One deliberate act can shift perception, realign hierarchies, and remind all present that you are the unmovable center. Authority is not granted. It is imposed, silently, relentlessly, invisibly. Today, you impose it. The final act begins long before it is recognized. Authority is not declared. It is absorbed, internalized, and feared. Those around you may not speak, may not acknowledge it aloud, but they feel it. Machiavelli understood that true power thrives in the unseen, in the subtle currents that shape behavior without proclamation. Today, you will command without speaking louder than necessary. The room, once neutral, now becomes a mirror of your will. Every gaze, every whisper, every micro-movement registers your presence. Sun Tzu's principle holds: the battle is won in perception long before any clash occurs. Observe the hidden dynamics. Notice who flinches, who tests, who strategizes against you silently. Each of these reactions is a thread. Pull carefully, and the entire weave shifts in your favor. Timing is paramount. Speak too soon, and your command loses gravity. Wait too long, and hesitation is exposed. Let silence stretch, let tension accumulate until the moment you intervene is unmistakable. One word, one gesture, delivered with unshakable certainty, can recalibrate the balance of influence. The inner servant will whisper to appease, to excuse, to soften, but silence it. Precision trumps kindness in the architecture of authority. Every micro-action counts. A glance that cuts through deception. A pause that unsettles certainty. A small correction that reminds others of the hierarchy they have forgotten. Nietzsche called this the art of subtle dominance, the war waged in the spaces between speech and action. Execute deliberately without haste, and watch as the currents bend to your presence. Resistance is inevitable. The shadow antagonist, your own fears, the doubts others project, all coalesce at the moment you assert dominance. Confront it once, decisively. Do not over-explain, do not falter. Retreat only in strategy, never in perception. Jung emphasized that hesitation reveals vulnerability. Your resolve must be unbroken, your aura unshakable. Visualization solidifies mastery. Imagine the space around you as a fortress of inevitability. Opponents shrink under the weight of your certainty. Your gestures, posture, and words carve walls of influence that cannot be crossed. The mind obeys imagery before reality. Enter each encounter with this mental map, letting it shape tone, timing, and presence. Repetition cements authority. A single act may impress, but consistency enslaves perception. Every deliberate intervention, each micro-adjustment, every controlled pause accumulates into an undeniable force. Sun Tzu. Victorious warriors win first and then go to war. Preparation, strategy, and subtle dominance define the outcome before action begins. Today, influence is not a granted title or a fleeting privilege. It is the force radiating from deliberate presence, every word, every pause, every gesture meticulously calibrated. One final act, a glance, a statement, a controlled movement, can reshape perception, realign hierarchies, and establish that you are the immovable center. Authority is imposed silently, invisibly, relentlessly. Today, you impose it. The room remembers, shadows shrink, minds bend, and you remain unchallenged, not because they fear you openly, but because they cannot escape the inevitability of your presence.